Good evening and welcome to the December 16, 2019 meeting of the Gaston County Board of Education. This is our last meeting of the decade. I am Britt Moore, Crowders Mountain Township, Chairman of the board, and to my left is Mr. Kevin Collier, Vice Chairman of Riverbend Township. At this time, I would like to ask the other board members to introduce themselves.
Lee Dedman, Gaston Township.
Justin Davis, South Point Township.
Steve Hall, Dallas Township.
Dot Guthrie, Gastonia.
The at-large member.
Dot Cherry, at-large member.
On behalf of the board, I would like to welcome everyone here this afternoon. Our first order of business is to have a prayer and pledge of allegiance, and I would like to ask Dr. Booker if he would have our invocation.
Thank you. If you join me. Father God, we thank you. We thank you for the protection that we don't even know exists. We thank you for walking with us and, but more importantly, walking before us. We ask that you be with us tonight and guide us and allow us to do your will in the work of this board and the support of our students. We thank you for this season and all that it means and all that is shared, and we ask that the goodwill that we see be carried forward. We do all this in that powerful name. Amen.
Amen.
Please stand.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Our next item on the agenda is to adopt the agenda. You have a proposed agenda before you. Please take a look at that, and I need a motion. Ms. Cherry? Second, Mrs. Guthrie. Any questions, discussion? All in favor? And it's unanimous. Our next order of business is to hear good news happening in our school system. Superintendent Booker, give us some good news.
Thank you, sir. We have several good news items tonight. We're going to start off with some great students. I'd like to recognize Danielle Rondinelli, excuse me. If she could come forward, please. She is a student at the Highland School of Technology, and she has been selected, get ready for this now, as one of the top 5 CTE scholars in the state of North Carolina. This is part of the United States Presidential Scholars Program, and they are chosen based on their outstanding ability and achievements in career and technical education. Danielle is in the dental pathway at Highland. She plans to further her education upon graduation, and we wanted to take a moment and congratulate her for bringing this great state honor to Gaston County. Mr. Collier?
We, as this board and this staff, are so proud of our CTE programs and all the work that's been done in the last few years. We're getting state recognition like you wouldn't believe. I mean, people are in here trying to figure out what we're doing with the CTE program. Now, for the old folks like me, this was vocational high school. This was vocational. So that throws off old folks like me that it's CTE. So to be clear, when you say you need to see more vocation in high schools, it's CTE now, and Gaston County is leading the way. And Danielle is an example of what's coming from it to be one of the finalists, top 5 in the state of North Carolina. She couldn't make this county and this board and staff and even Highland School of Technology itself more proud. So, thank you, Danielle. Oh yeah, we need parents, and there's probably a staff member here, principal or two, that's
So proud.
yeah. Come on, Mr. Montgomery. This good, Sean? That's perfect. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
In addition to outstanding academics, Highland School of Technology has an athletic program. And we're fortunate tonight to have Lauren Tolbert with us. Lauren? Lauren placed second in the 1A Cross Country State Championship meet with a time of 19 minutes and 21 seconds. And it was no fluke because she won the regional title with the 19-minute, 19-second. Talk about consistent running speed. But she also was a county champion when she competed against all of her high schools when she finished with the 20-minute, 44-second time. So we wanted to recognize her, and you probably might be familiar with her because she was with us last year as a part of the state champion 400-meter dash and also finished second in the 800-meter. So, Lauren, we appreciate what you are doing in the classroom, but also on the athletic field. So, congratulations.
And on behalf of our Board of Education, myself, I want to congratulate you. But also I want to talk about your dental pathway. And both of these lovely students are in dental, but we're very, very proud of all you have accomplished. She has a brother that goes to South Point, a sister that goes to Belmont Middle. So, and I know that your parents are very proud of you. But congratulations to you. Thank you. And we're very, very proud of you.
Yeah.
A runner-up trophy for the women's cross country individual. Now, I don't even like to drive 19 minutes.
If we can slide her over just a bit to the front. There you go. All right.
Mom and Dad, come on. And Mr. Montgomery. And I tell you what, and Coach Blair. And anybody else in the audience like very good. You hold this with her. Let Mom get what you're doing, please.
All right, thank you. I'll send you all these photos of the not here.
We are so very proud of you.
Next, I'd like to ask Lainey Moran to come up. She is a student at Forest View High School. She started Share a Meal program, which provides food to high school students who are in need. The program began in the spring, and it started at Hunter Huss High School. It can now be found at both Forest View and Ashbrook. The goal of Share a Meal is to provide high-protein foods for students. Doing so alleviates the stress and worry about having something to eat so they can focus on their successful school career. We wanted to thank you, Lainey, for making a difference in our county and the lives of your fellow students. This is how one person can make a difference. So thank you, Mr. Davis.
Truly is an example of how one person can make a difference. And in our season of giving that we're in right now, this is a great time to honor you for what you've done. You've obviously probably touched a lot of lives in what you've done. And we just thank you for your spirit, for your heart, and for what you've done. We're so proud of you and look forward to see what you do in the future. So congratulations again. Mom and Dad here too. As soon as.
Got the whole support.
All right, good. Well, Sean, go ahead and then we'll get them up here.
Okay. This slide.
Oh, we'll slide this over.
Okay.
All right. Come on up, everybody. Congrats to you. Thank you.
Can you separate so that always the color? Please. Please, yeah.
Thank you.
I gotta shake everybody. There you go.
Thank you for making a difference.
I've asked Mr. Moore to go down because these next 4 awards are for adults in the room here. Many of you will hear us talk about NSPRA, North Carolina School Public Relations Association. You may not recognize that Todd Hagens, because of a resignation in the state, has had to serve as president of the state organization for 3 years. And recently, he was recognized by the national NSPRA, the National School Public Relations Association, as one of only 4 people in the United States to be recognized for what is called the Front Runner Award. It is recognizes emerging leaders in the field of school communications and public relations for their outstanding work in their district and on behalf of the state organization. If you note, you'll note that this award has only been given since 2010, and he is only the 2nd person in North Carolina to ever receive the award. He's probably the most embarrassed person because this isn't going to be presented to him until next summer, but I just couldn't wait to recognize Todd for all that he does. So.
Usually you have a speech ready for me, but not even for you, come as go. We appreciate what you do, and I know you guys work hard in your department. We value you for what you do.
I have good people.
Yeah, you do.
Good people.
Come shake her hand.
You have any family here? I'm not used to this.
I will turn the attention on you, members of the board. I'd like to ask Ms. Dot Guthrie if you would go down and join Mr. Moore, please. Many of you know that she is a believer in literacy, and she's been recognized locally, statewide, and nationally for her advocacy on behalf of school libraries and reading. She's been a representative of the Gastonia Township after working for the school system for 30 years and also serving in the Clover School District. But this year, she got a new award, and this was done by the North Carolina School Board Association. She was recognized with the only award this year given as the School Board Member Leadership Award.
From our board, we appreciate everything that you do, and you do so many things in our community. And not only just a friend, I value our friendship, and I like everyone else on the board. There's not 8 other people that I would rather serve with than the 8 that we have, and I consider it a pleasure to be on serve on the board with you. So I'm going to present you with this award.
I'm speechless. Oh. May I say one more? Growing up in Clover, South Carolina, a little girl who couldn't go to school because I had to pick cotton. So education was important to me. And when I had the opportunity to empower myself with knowledge. I took full advantage of that. And my love for learning, I hope, will run it over to children so that they will enjoy and benefit from the many, many educators in this district, a very highly qualified superintendent and board chair, and all of you, my board members. We know how important it is to move our children ahead. And we know that in order to do that, we must be fully committed. And that's why the Little Clover Girl is fully committed to education. So thank you very much for this. It's an honor, but I do it because I feel like it's part of my assignment from the powers that be. And usually I can fake a smile, but I couldn't
Terry's on his way. Oh, is he?
Dot, you make us proud. Oh, thank you. And I love your shoes.
Well deserved.
You are always sounding by.
Thank you. Love you all. You know that. Thank you. I'm going to shake your hand.
Next, I would like to ask the other Dot, Miss Dot Cherry, to join Mr. Moore. Miss Cherry has served over 7 years on our board, and through that time, she has worked closely with our commissioners, business, civic leaders, and others in the community to really support our school system, to talk about our needs, and more importantly, to support our administration and faculty. She is tireless in attending events and supporting it. That has been recognized on the state level, and she was asked to serve on the North Carolina School Board Association Board of Directors, and she has been appointed a full term for that. And so we wanted to recognize Ms. Cherry.
You with this award from our board. You when it come time to pick someone to be on the state board, we all kind of talked and figured that you would be the best one. You're good at getting information behind the scenes, and if you want to find something out, talk to Dot. She's a great board member, and I enjoyed serving with her as well. And she had a birthday this past weekend. She turned 40. So I want to present you with this award. Thank you.
All I want to say is thank you for putting your trust in me. I hope that I will glean lots of information in Raleigh and bring it back to serve us in a positive way. Looking forward to getting to know all the other 30 people on that board, which kind of surprised me. So it'll be an interesting road, but I'm excited about it. I'm encouraged about it for us. So thank you, board members, for trusting me, and we'll see. So thank you. Thanks, Brent. Don't box me around. I'll shake your hand. This is an odd thing. Go around shaking.
Congratulations.
And thank you. Oh. Thank you.
She does everybody. That's why I did it.
And last, and certainly not least, I'd like to ask Jeff Ramsey to join Mr. Moore. Many of you know that Mr. Ramsey, prior to serving on the Board of Education, served as a commissioner in the town of Cramerton. He was really instrumental in helping Cramerton to reestablish their recreation programs and, in fact, creating the department. In addition to that, he has served in a number of areas in the town, including their historical society, and he's been a part of all the growth that has occurred since the year 2000 in that community, which includes the development of the Goat Island Park as well as the creation of Stuart W. Kramer High School. He was recognized by the town as the Town of Cramerton's Lifetime Citizen Award.
Well, thank you, Mr. Chair. I mean, this is probably one of the highest honors that you can get for the town. And like the rest of the board, I value what you do. I value serving with you and your knowledge and experience. And just want to say thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate you.
Thank y'all. I love serving everybody.
I think, Mr. Ramsey, your quote that was in the Gazette, "I am humbled to be recognized for my work, but I didn't feel like it was work. Having the love and passion for Cramerton that I have always have, I felt like I was making a difference." And I think that speaks to your service on this board as well. You have been a staunch supporter of all of the programs that we have developed and been implementing, and we just appreciate your efforts. So.
Picture.
Thank you.
All right, sir.
Thank you.
Congratulations. That's fine. I'll never even get a key.
The next item on our agenda allows an opportunity for public expression. Tonight, we do have individuals who have signed up to be heard. This is a time when the board will hear comments from members of the public about matters of public concern related to the school system. And we have Mr. Aiden Spellbring. Did I say that right? Okay.
Right.
Before we begin, let me outline our procedures. Citizens wishing to make public comment who have completed a request to speak form will be recognized by the chair and then requested to step to the microphone for their comments. Citizens will then state their name and address for the record. Comments will be limited to 3 minutes. The members of the board do not comment on public expression during public expression. Public expression does not allow for comments on confidential or personnel matters. The chair shall rule on all points during public expression. And we're ready. Please state your name and your address.
Hello, my name is Aiden Spellbring, and I live at 3013 Southampton Circle, Gastonia, North Carolina, 28056. So I'm a senior at Forest View High School. We live in a rapidly changing world that is constantly shedding a brighter light on diversity. It could be argued that without diversity, whether it be diversity of thought, fact, or opinion, the need for an education would be obsolete. I want to thank you for your continued effort to make our schools more inclusive for the LGBTQ+ students. As a president of the Gay Straight Alliance at Forest View, I've heard only positive feedback from students about how diversity training has influenced their classroom environment. This diversity training needs to continue in all Gaston County schools. When looking at the statistics for North Carolina's school climate from the Gay, Lesbian, Straight, and Education Network, the statistics can be scary. 72% of lesbian, gay, or bisexual students are verbally harassed. 57% of transgender students are verbally harassed. 23 to 29% of this time turns into physical harassment. These statistics alone demonstrate the immediate need for diversity training in all schools. When talking to a transgender student, he shared with me that he had moved here because his mom kicked him out. When he asked if his dad supports him, his dad said, "I don't completely understand it yet. I'm trying to, though, but I have to support you. You're my child. I have no other option but to support you." Just like the student's father, in a way, the school system must act in the same manner, supporting its students by training the educators to have proper tools, resources, and knowledge to support all students, including the LGBTQ+ students. My proposal for a diversity inclusion initiative does not stem from a political or religious nature. It's simply a segue to providing a successful and inclusive school environment. We can do this by continuing to make LGBTQ+ diversity training a standard across all Gaston County schools. I'd like to read a short letter to you from an anonymous student about how they feel diversity training put in place at Forest U has had a positive impact on their classroom and overall school experience. There was an obvious change from one day to the next. My teachers started calling out students and correcting them on how they were using words like gay, or if a kid would say, "That's so gay," as a joke or bad phrase. The teachers suddenly started addressing that this wasn't an appropriate use of the word. I didn't know why this was. Then when I was telling Aiden about this shift in how teachers were handling these incidents, he told me that the teachers went through a diversity training and now understand what might be offensive or cruel. It felt good to know that Forest U was looking out for me and was working to inform my teachers about how I identify. I would like to thank you for your time, and I hope you take this important issue into consideration. Your immediate action to implement this training into every school will have a positive impact on improving Gaston County schools. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for your comments and continued concern for Gaston County schools. Although the board does not typically respond during the period of public comment, we do want to hear from the public and direct staff to work on those issues that need to be addressed. Thank you for your comments.
Thank you.
The next item on the agenda is the approval or corrections of our past meeting. Tonight, we're asking for approval from the minutes from the November 18th, 2019 meeting. I need a motion. Mr. Dedman. Second, Mr. Hall. All in favor? And it's unanimous. The next item on the agenda is our classroom moments. At each meeting, we would like to highlight some of the good work going on in our classrooms. Tonight is no exception. Dr. Booker, what do you have for us tonight?
Well, I'm going to ask Dr. Bostic, and she has folks from our early college for us tonight.
This evening, we are excited to be able to highlight our Gaston Early College program. As many of you remember, our Gaston Early College program started at Bessemer City High School, where it was housed for several years before it moved in 2012 to be housed on the Gaston College campus. So this evening, I have with me Mr. Josh Allen, principal of the Gaston Early College, and he has brought several staff members with him to share with you just what is happening currently at our early college and all the wonderful opportunities that are there for our students. Mr. Allen?
Good evening, Chairman Moore, Superintendent Booker, and Board of Education members. And thank you for the opportunity to share with you all for tonight's classroom moment about the absolute awesomeness that is Gaston Early College High School. And I mean absolute awesomeness. I'd like to introduce you to members of my staff here. We have our lead teacher, Mr. Joe Yavlak, science teacher, Lauren Dixon, and English teacher, Russ Paul, who will be helping me with tonight's presentation. I'd also like to draw your attention to the purple folder that you all find at your seats. If you'll notice, the first page in that folder highlights the school profile that goes over various specific points of information about our school. Much of our presentation will be covering that profile tonight. And then there are also two other documents that go over specifics related to our program that I thought you might find interesting when you have the time to read it.
All right. Gaston Early College High School is located on the Dallas campus of Gaston College. Thanks to the partnership between Gaston County Schools and Gaston College, our students have educational opportunities afforded to them that they wouldn't have otherwise. Part of being part of the college community gives them a lot of good opportunities. We also have beautiful facilities that we work in, and it gives us a great place to both work and learn. We feature both a 4-year and 5-year program. In Gaston, early college students have the opportunity to earn their high school diploma and a 2-year associate degree in either arts, science, or engineering. Now, that gives them a head start when it comes to their bachelor's degree. The program itself is, like all of our associate's degrees, are transfer degrees. And so they're designed with the intent that students transfer into a bachelor's degree program. It gives them a head start on that because their college coursework transfers in as well. So they'll start as a student at a university with a considerable amount of college coursework already completed. It also gives them a head start when it comes to navigating those things that happen on a college campus. Our students have got to choose their course schedule from the long list of courses that we have access to at Gaston College. Our students have also learned how to struggle through some research papers and show up at the Writing Center on campus with the opportunity to make their papers better so that they can turn it in, giving them an opportunity to learn some of those resources. It also gives our students a heads up or a head start when it comes to their finances. Our students save on average $9,000, upwards of $9,000, because when they attend school with us, it's free. So over the course of the 2 years that they're with us, they get a full associate's degree absolutely for free, and everybody loves free. But think about this too, right? It's not just the $9,000 that they're saving from their associate's degree. They're also saving a ton of money from what they could have paid had they attended a university for those 2 years. So they go in with the head start of the college coursework as well as the financial head start that they get as well.
So our school is considered a cooperative, innovative high school by the state of North Carolina. And as a cooperative, innovative high school, we have to have a focus. And our particular focus, one of the focuses for our school, is that we are a first-generation early college. And as you can see by the graphic on the screen, it's also on the document in your folder, our first-generation population, the percentage is just over 80% for the entire school. Specific to our freshman class is an 87% first-generation group of students. So our school is definitely serving a unique need within our county. Also, you'll notice the total enrollment of our school. We are a small school on purpose. The guidelines related to cooperative innovative high schools for the state of North Carolina require that you be a small school. And as we continue our program tonight, you'll hear about the benefits of small school instruction. Academically speaking, our school is top-notch. For the last 5 years, we have been considered a grade A high school for the state of North Carolina. As you all know, North Carolina Department of Public Instruction gives schools a report card grade, and Gaston Early College is proud to say that for the last 5 years, we are a grade A school. Another achievement for us is the Charlotte Business Journal. For the last 2 years, they have rated the 100 area high schools in the Charlotte metro area, and for 2 years in a row now, Gaston Early College High School is the second highest ranked school on that list in terms of college and career readiness, which is our students' ability to score a 4 or a 5 on their North Carolina end of course exams. Yes, our students are academically proficient. More so than that, our students are growing. We take pride in growing our students once they come to us because being proficient is not good enough. So from the last 3 years, we pulled the data thanks to our accountability department. And in 2016-17, we were in the top 5% in student growth. 17-18, the top 3%, and proud to say that last school year in the top 2% in the state in terms of student growth percentage. We are very proud of that accomplishment at our school. One of the academic components of our school is a project-based learning focus. Because we are a cooperative, innovative high school, there's a focus on innovation. And part of that innovation sometimes calls for non-traditional scheduling and non-traditional programming. Mr. Paul and Ms. Dixon will give you more specifics about that.
Why won't it go? Why don't it go? Oh. It's not like what's in my classroom. I need it to be in my classroom. I think what really sets our classroom experiences apart is the fact that students are allowed and encouraged to collaborate on lots of activities. And through the course of the 4 traditional high school years, students engage in problem-based, project-based, product-based, whatever you want to call this. These 2 images show what those projects look like for our freshmen. And the picture on the left with the group, there is a zombie project, which is really their first endeavor in this collaboration like we do it at Gaston Early College High School. It involves their Earth Environmental Science class. It involves their Math 1 or 2. It involves their World History class. And essentially, they're assigned a world civilization and have to research everything from food that's available, the metallurgy, the land, the water, and then ultimately write an origin story for a zombie apocalypse and use math models to predict how that becomes a problem in the society at large.
The picture on the right is from our Natural Disasters Museum project, and one of the things that our freshmen do, which we'll speak about later, is they volunteer at Carr and Costner Elementary schools on Friday. And so with this project, we aligned this with the 5th grade standards of what kind of natural weather patterns happen, and with their Earth and Environmental Science, their English, their Math 2 class, and their World History, they create, each group has a different natural disaster that they research and look into and look at how it's caused and what impacts those could have on cultures and societies. And they created an interactive display. And we invite the 5th grade students from Carr and Costner Elementary to get to interact with these elements. And so we have an authentic audience for students to be able to interact with. So in the fall with that zombie project, that's kind of getting them ready to present to real audiences. Sophomore year, we continue that building of skills of collaboration with groups. We just finished this project a couple weeks ago. This is called the product pitch, which is kind of like the idea of Shark Tank, where people come and groups come up and they create their own business. They have different roles within that business, and they create a prototype that doesn't necessarily have to work, because some of these creations are very much out of this world, but they go through that experience of having to persuade an audience to invest into their companies.
The image on the right is one of our groups presenting the Halloween project, which is, it sort of has its roots in a previous school where colleagues would look at the Halloween legends and look at the science and specifically some chemistry and biology involved in some of those legends. This includes the interaction really with the public speaking course that Mr. Paul teaches and the biology course that I teach. And students choose a legend or some facet of a Halloween, whether it be how our bodies respond to fear or vampires and a genetic disorder that's associated with some of the traits that vampires exhibit, or the hypertrichosis linked to werewolves. And it becomes a storytelling event, and an original short story is written, it's performed, and the academic content is conveyed through that storytelling experience. And often members of different grade levels come for that. We've had, I know Ms. Bianca Yavalak is in the audience today. She routinely comes to experience that with us. And it allows students to interact with the content in an innovative way.
These images here are of our junior class. Junior year, they take American History 1 and 2, and they do what we call the Decades Project. Now, one of the things that we do is, because we're located on Gaston College campus, is that we have a lot of flexibility with space. Because our school is smaller, so they have a Meyer Center, like conference center, where we can go and we can use that space to be able to present. And so the Decades Project is an overview of all the decades in the 19th century, and groups research different things as far as technological advances, scientific advances, what happened during that point in history, famous people, even down to what trends, what slang words that they used. They also present on the day that Carr and Costner comes to visit the Natural Disasters Museum. So we take over our whole school with the Natural Disasters Museum and the Myers Center to be able to just have this full-on interactive experience with history, science, English, and all of those different elements. So they're really getting a lot of hands-on engagement with presenting.
So we're have a different location, right? We're situated on the Gaston College campus, and we have these projects that are really comprehensive and really important. If you want to see what makes Gaston Early College, come on a Friday, okay? Monday through Thursday, we may look like the other schools. We're not. We may look like the other schools, but Friday, we don't even look like them. On Friday, we spend the first half of our day from 9 to noon, we spend it with our enrichment and volunteering activities. Okay? Those are for the different grade levels. For our 9th graders, they're volunteering at Carr and Costner and working on leadership development. Our 10th graders are participating or discovering Gaston County, working with Keep Gastonia Beautiful, Senior Living Centers, and Hawks Nest. In 11th grade, our students are volunteering at Webb Street and participating in mock interviews and the science fair. And our seniors are doing job shadowing and preparing and planning for college. So that's the first half of every Friday. We have activity buses rolling out. We have lots of things happening on our Fridays. Then from 12:05 to 1:35, we have academic hour. And academic hour is kind of like a unique study hall where our students get to choose a teacher that they need to go work with. And that work can be trying to make up things that they need to get caught up on, trying to learn content that they're deficient at, or even just focusing in and trying to get ready for the week that's to come. Our focus time our focus time really nails down working with the complete individual. And we do this anyways, but we really focus on it during focus time. During that time, we have programs developed by our guidance counselor that include things like the growth mindset and learning how to approach a problem and learning how to manage stress. We have these things on a weekly basis during our focus time. Then we have clubs every week to end the day on Friday. And those clubs are student-directed and involve things like student government, and we have a sports club, we have a coding club, but we also have things like the Imagineering Club. And the Imagineering Club is kind of a merger between arts and Disney. So students get to, that's Miss Dixon's club. And we have, and we also have the Lorax Club, where students get to do some student-driven pushes, environmental pushes. So.
Yeah, so with sophomore year, Ms. Dixon and I, our staff basically is divided by different grade levels, and they're responsible for planning those Flex Fridays. I've had the absolute pleasure of being on board with this program since we started at Gaston College campus, and we were very much about purposeful design and making sure that everything we did went back to our mission statement of learn, lead, live. Learning for college and career, leading by example, and living a successful life in today's society. And we do that through our sophomore year by discovering Gaston. We go to 16 different places throughout the semester on our field trips on Fridays, be it Crowder's Mountain, be it going to the jail and the courthouse. That's always fun. I get to tell my students every year, I'm taking you to jail. We go to the City Hall and get to tour City Hall. We go to a lot of different places, as well as volunteering at senior living centers at Morningside Assisted Living and Covenant Village. We go to Hawks Nest and partner with Keep Gastonia Beautiful and Crisis Assistance Ministries. So we are going somewhere every Friday. I feel like 10th grade, there's always a bus waiting for us on Fridays. But it's around these three tenets that we really found that we wanted to build our program: learn, lead, and live. And we're going to kind of talk about more in depth with those different service opportunities that we have for students.
Relative to going places, one of the places we want to make sure our students go to are colleges. As an early college, we find that focuses on first-generation college students. We find that oftentimes they don't have much perspective when it comes to what colleges are out there. And so we start in the freshman year by taking our students to Gardner-Webb. Every freshman every year goes to Gardner-Webb University to learn more about that specific program.
And that's my alma mater, so I get to talk about it, even though I don't get to go on this trip ever. This image is special to me because of one of our students. This is our current freshman group in front of the Tucker Student Center, and the Tucker family has recently announced an endowment of many millions of dollars for a scholarship which they are calling the Tucker Heart, Soul, Mind, and Strength Scholarship, which will cover room and board, tuition, all fees associated with Gardner-Webb University to one student in the fall. And one of our 13th year students is one of the finalists for that scholarship. What? Oh, and Carr Elementary, the image to the right, we send our freshmen there every Friday. They're in Costner, and they are partnering through what the Literacy Council is calling Soulmates, and work with the second graders. They're there for 2 hours on Friday, and during the first hour they work in 2 30-minute shifts with second graders who were identified through beginning of grade testing as sort of being on the bubble and need a little bit of extra support. And then the second hour, they are all assigned to different classrooms of all the grade levels and serve there to help with makeup work or to help with reading skills and strategies, math tutoring, whatever the teacher needs done in his or her classroom on that particular day with their students.
So these next two pictures are some of our sophomores. The one on the left is at Belmont Abbey College. That's one of our Discover Gaston stops, as I would say. But getting to explore those campuses, especially our local campuses, I think is great for kind of retaining our own. I want to speak about one student that recently graduated from Belmont Abbey. She transferred after our program with a full ride scholarship. Her name is Brianna Gamble Weaver, and she graduated in 2.5 years, and she is currently teaching at Pleasant Ridge Elementary. On the right, this is some of our students working at Hawks Nest Team Academy. With Hawks Nest being a magnet program, different than we are, their Fridays are a lot different than ours are too. So we get to go and spend some time with them working on some of their STEM projects that they do throughout the year. And it's been a great partnership, and we've even gotten to experience, helping them, but then getting to go when they're presenting and providing some feedback for those students.
Our junior class is involved in science fair, and through the 9th, 10th, and 11th grade, our project-based learning sort of becomes scaffold. And in this last year, students are encouraged to develop their own research and develop a question, collect data, and share that information, because as they are taught in their coursework, even through history and through all of the sciences, scientific literacy is of paramount importance. And for students to make really well thought out decisions regarding what they hear, what they read, what they see in the media requires a bit of research and a bit of background knowledge. And science fair is modeled to allow them to cooperate, work together, develop data, share their results, and hopefully participate in the Gaston Regional Science and Engineering Fair here in January.
So yes, our freshmen go to Gardner-Webb, and our sophomores go to Belmont Abbey. Our students also go to NC State every year. Earlier this fall, we went to UNC Charlotte, and just today in my office, I worked with a teacher and we scheduled a visit to Western Carolina University for the upcoming spring. The picture to your right is a photo of a day when the entire school last spring went on a college visit day. Everyone from the school got to choose one of 5 colleges they were interested in going to visit. And during that day, the entire school left early in the morning, and we visited Clemson University, Appalachian State University, North Carolina A&T, Pfeiffer University, and Mars Hill University, all in one day, again, to build that perspective so that when they do get to that transfer stage of their academic journey, they have a lot of history there to kind of fall back on and say, well, where do I need to go? What school fits me the best? What school was the right size for me? What school had the right food court that I want to go and eat at every day? What school has the degree programs that I care about? So we help them understand the answers to those questions so that when it does come time for them to transfer on to the next step, they are well prepared to do so.
In Gaston Early, we're really proud of our job shadowing program. As our seniors have the opportunity to, on Fridays during their enrichment time, they spend it at a business of their choosing, kind of getting to see the ropes and see how things work. It's good for us because as every student that graduates from Gaston Early College will have had an opportunity to shadow somebody at their job. So we're really proud of that. Right now we have students everywhere. We have students at Caramount Regional Medical Center everywhere from the IT department to the PR department and all of the wings in between. So they get to really see all of the different facets of what make the hospital work. We have people that are job shadowing teachers. We have people that are job shadowing with the veterinarians and with the pharmacies. So there's a lot of different jobs that they're getting an opportunity to experience. It's mutually beneficial because we have students who have come out of there with job offers. And so the companies that they've been working with are really impressed by their work, but our students also get an opportunity to see if this is the kind of career that they really want to get into. And we recently had one student who came up and said that after having job shadowed a teacher, that they found that this really is the thing that they want to do. So we're even helping recruit. So.
So, we talked about all these volunteer hours. So we kind of did some math for this semester, the fall semester alone. Our 9th graders did 640 hours at Carr and Costner Elementaries. Our sophomores did 490 hours of volunteering at Hawks Nest, Keep Gastonia Beautiful, Morningside Assisted Living, and Covenant Village and Crisis Assistance Ministries. And our juniors spent 282 hours volunteering at Webb Street School. All in all, over 1,400 volunteer hours. That's not even including the job shadowing students. So we're very proud of that number, and we think that all kind of goes into this success that we've been having academically as well.
Gaston Early College High School is truly a unique place to learn and grow. Grow academically, grow as people. We want you to be well-rounded people when you leave our fine establishment. We're a small school on purpose. Our smallness allows us to know how our students need to be supported to be successful, when they should get extra high fives because they've been successful, how to support them at home, how to support their parents at home as they are helping us along each individual student's journey. It helps us to support one another because we are a small school as well, and you have to work together when you do all the things that we do when you are a small school. We could not be more proud of who we are and what we do every day for our students at Gaston Early College High School. Thank you for supporting us, and thank you for sharing the good news about Gaston Early College. Speaking of sharing the good news about Gaston Early College, if you look near your purple folder, you have a 3D printed gray coin. This was printed by one of our teachers. Every student who comes to our table at the school choice fairs, prospective student gets one of these gray coins. If you'll notice on the front of it, it says GECHS, Gaston Early College High School, invest in you. We invest in our students every single day. All of us do. Every single one of us pours ourselves into our students. We are also asking them to invest in themselves. Choosing to come to Gaston Early College High School is a large step. We recognize that. They are leaving the comforts of their middle school, even the elementary school that fed into their middle school, and they are starting anew in a unique program that is going to challenge them academically and personally. And we are asking them to invest in themselves. The deadline for the application is February 28, 2020, also printed on the coin, so that they can hopefully become, on the back of the coin, one of our next Spartans of the incoming freshman class. Thank you so much for your time.
Mr. Allen, before you get away, you all have had some other successes. Talk about your students' involvement in the college life, because they've served on the student association and some things.
Yes, sir. We have multiple students who serve on Gaston College's Student Government Association. We have a wonderful Student Government Association in our high school that Mr. Paul runs. And then students, with the leadership that they learn through our program, often carry that on to our Student Government Association at the college. And we recently, a graduate last year, Kira Ryan, who's now a student at Western Carolina University, was the president of Gaston College Student Government Association, which is wonderful because, right, Gaston College has thousands of students, but one of our students, high school students, was the president of Gaston College's Student Government Association. Great accomplishment.
Mr. Collier?
I just want to say that I'm really proud of what you're doing over there, and there's incredible educational opportunities that you've pointed out over there. But the thing that really struck me tonight that I didn't realize, other than education and the job shadowing and the numerous things you're doing, is civic responsibility that these children are learning. And that is so vital for children to learn today, and the mentoring they're doing and going and helping at Webb Street. They're actually learning the value and the reward of helping another human being. And so not only are they becoming great citizens, great students, they're becoming, and Mr. Allen, you alluded to it, they're becoming a better person when they leave that program. And I cannot say more about not just educating a child, but making them a better person in society. And my hat is off to what you're doing over there, and I don't know how to say it any better than that. Thank you.
Ms. Guthrie?
You spoke with confidence. You said absolute awesomeness. And I can understand why you said it now, because you have presented an outstanding, a phenomenal review of what you're doing in the early college there at Gaston. The superintendent asked one of the questions that I had noted that I was going to ask you about the immersion of high school into college life and college courses, but you talk about life skills, financial literacy. I heard that because, you know, you're saving $9,000 from these kids having, well, he said 9,000, so I just wrote that down. You know, that's just phenomenal to have the opportunity to share with children that may not have had or get that opportunity. And you spoke, each of you spoke with the excitement that you are transferring to the students. And that's why you're like the second highest rank in you know, high schools, because in the project-based learning. And I like the way you said interest in the content. They're going to do the things that they're interested in, and it's going to fall within the content. So if you, that's a good hook to give them the opportunity to research things that they really want to learn more about, yet it falls within the content area. You know they're going to enhance their research skills. They're going to do that because they're interested. And then I see the leadership, the leader in me. You're moving from your leadership skills there, the high school, the college, to Carr and Costner, working with those children. It's phenomenal. And I applaud you for what you're doing how you're doing it and certainly how you're making a difference here in Gaston County, enhancing civic responsibilities with our students. Thank you so much. I applaud you again for what you're doing.
Ms. Cherry?
Well, I go there as often as I can. The beauty of the early college and the uniqueness of it is you have the latitude to do the things that you do that our traditional high schools can't do. And I ask the kids all the time, do you like it here? I haven't had one yet that said that they don't. And it was their choice. And because it's their choice, they're vested in it. And that's exciting because they have bought into it. They know that the things that they've left behind at a traditional school, but it fits them. And the extra things that y'all get to do and the uniqueness and the shaping that y'all get to do excites them. So kudos to y'all and your creativity. I was there the other day, Mr. Devlin was too, for their science projects, and some of them they just blew me away. The things that especially the bugs, but the things that they were reporting on. But there's always something just outside of the box that y'all were doing there, and it's a wonderful, unique program for our unique children. So great job.
May I say, please add one more site to your legend, and that's the African American Museum of History and Culture.
Oh, definitely.
We are working on that for next semester.
Anyone else? All right, thank you guys for presenting. Appreciate what you do. The next item on our agenda is a report from the Operations Committee. The Operations Committee is made up of Mr. Lee Dedman, who is the chairman of that committee, Mr. Jeff Ramsey, Mr. Steve Hall, and Mr. Kevin Collier. And Mr. Steve Hall is bringing us that report.
Thank you.
The Operations Committee met Monday, December the 2nd at 4 here in the boardroom, and that concludes, he's done stated. On our agenda, discussions include the following. Gary Hoskins, our Chief Financial Officer, proposed that the board adopt the court decision to approve the resolution from NCSBA to request the General Assembly to pay the remaining $729 million judgment for civil penalties that they should have paid to public schools for technology. And that's something else the state owes us. Gary also discussed unsolicited offers to purchase school property by individuals. And I think we turned that down, basically. As a part of the modernization process, some payroll calendars need to be consolidated. The Operations Committee is proposing that teacher assistants be paid on a 10-month calendar in arrears instead of in advance. We propose that teacher assistants start starting January the 1st, 2020, and beyond, use the new schedule. The current teacher assistants will switch to the new calendar in August 2020. The month without pay will be July and August instead of June and July. Our Executive Director of Human Resources, Joy Clinton, updated us on a policy change initiated by the North Carolina School Board Association, which is a federal requirement per DPI. The policy recommends that all CDL employees be uploaded into a real-time database that allows us to see the results from drug and alcohol testing from any county. We must comply with the change by January the 6th, 2020. Mr. Bill Farnsworth, our project manager, reported that Belmont Middle School started roofing the gym area. The brick on the back receiving dock is topped out, and they will begin to work inward. Steel is going up in Area 3, A3, and the interior block work will be completed by next Wednesday. All the main water supply in front of the building is complete. The project is still on schedule and on budget. Dr. Morgan Huchard, our Executive Director of Auxiliary Services, shared with us an update on all capital projects. Current bond projects updates can be found on the Gaston County School website. Our Director of Facilities, Chip Irby, informed us that this year over the holidays, the following projects will take or have taken place: lighting, roofing, bathroom upgrades, intercom updates, cabling, painting, concrete replacements, fence installation, and life safety improvements. Dr. Huchard shared with us that there are 6 parades will affect 19 schools within the districts, and I think most of that's over with. Some schools will have early dismissal. There will be an internal job advertisement for Director of School Safety and Security, and external posting for School Safety and Security Compliance Specialist. Our next meeting is scheduled February the 3rd, 2020 at 4 o'clock here in the boardroom. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Hall. The next item on the agenda is a report from the Curriculum and Instruction Committee. The members of that committee are Mrs. Dot Guthrie, she is the chair of that committee, Mr. Terry Usry, Ms. Dot Cherry, and Mr. Justin Davis. And Ms. Dot Cherry is bringing us that report.
Okay, we met on December 2nd, and the meeting was called to order at 12:03. Minutes were approved with no corrections for our November meeting. The committee chair approved changing the order of the agenda. A proposed resolution on fines and forfeitures by the NC School Boards Association was presented to the committee for information. This resolution will be on our consent agenda tonight. The payroll calendar consolidation was presented to the committee for information, and changes for policy 6335 /7270, the drug and alcohol testing for commercial motor vehicle operators, was presented for information as well. That will also be on our consent agenda tonight. Staff shared updates on pre-K services. Placing children who are at the lowest poverty levels and have never been served are priorities for Gaston County Schools pre-K department. 855 students were placed at sites throughout the county for the 1920 school year. 14 of these sites are Gaston County schools locations. The committee received information about the NC High School Athletic Association grant program. The Education-Based Athletics Grant allows schools to apply for funding in several areas that include coaches' education, equipment, and maintenance. Hopefully, we'll get that grant. Information on a digital platform for high school athletics was also presented. A digital platform would consolidate all forms onto one site and provide parents and athletes and coaches and athletic directors with a checklist for all items that must be completed. The meeting adjourned at 1:17. We will not hold a committee meeting in January, but our next meeting will be February 10th at noon. And that's my report.
Thank you, Ms. Cherry. The next item on our agenda is the acceptance of the June 13th, 2019 Comprehensive Annual Financial Report. This is an action item. Mr. Hoskins and Mr.
Thank you, Chairman Moore, Vice Chairman Collier, members of the board, Superintendent Booker. I'm very pleased to present to you the comprehensive annual financial report for June 30th, 2019. You should have a copy of this in your seat. To present the findings of this report, we have Vince Quinn with us. He's our independent auditor. He has been working with Gaston County, we figured 25 to 30 years over the last several audits. He works with Anderson, Smith, and White. But before I turn it over to him, I do want to have a special thanks to Delane Loftus, who spends a lot of time and effort making our CAFR as nice as it is. She puts a lot of pictures in there that personalize it, helps to talk about our mission and our vision. This year she talked about the 50th anniversary, and also there's a section in there remembering Dr. Sadler. So she does a great job. I just want to commend her for that. So with that, I will turn it over to Mr. Quinn.
Thank you, Board, for letting me come here and say a few words about the CAFR for June 30th, 2019. One of the first things I'd like to point out is on Roman numeral, it's behind the introductory section, pages Roman numeral 18 and 19. These are the certificates that you earned for the June 30th, 2018 financial statements. And in this report, it talks about that you have been receiving these certifications and awards since 1993 for one of the awards and from 1997. So that's a great honor in doing that. Then the first thing in the financial section I'd like to point out is on page 1. Page 1 is our opinion on the financial statements, and essentially it's a lot of paragraphs in there, but it boils down to a couple sentences. Right there at the bottom of the page, it says, in our opinion, the financial statements referred to above in all material respects present the financial position of the school system that they are presented fairly. All right, on page 16. 16 is the balance sheet for the governmental funds. The general fund is what we usually talk about for fund balance purposes, and there in that first column, the fund balance is kind of down at the bottom of that first column there. The total fund balance as of June 30th, 2019 was $4,795,951. The unassigned fund balance is $4,277,089. The unassigned means that is the amount that you have to appropriate in the next year's budget if it's necessary. The unassigned fund balance from the previous year was 4.371, so a slight decrease there. Their overall fund balance decreased $304,000 from the previous year. It was $5.1 million for June 30th, 2018. On page 23 is the next item, and that is the revenues and expenditures for the child nutrition program. And I always like to point out there how that operation did. And you can see that there was a change in net position for 2019 of $106,272 to the positive. That was a fairly significant increase from the previous year, in essence, because there was an indirect cost payment made from the child nutrition program to the general fund that had not been made in the previous 2 years. So this year, the child nutrition program was able to contribute to the general fund $700,000, when in the last couple of years it had not been contributing those amounts. I would just like to say I appreciate all the work that the Finance Department, Gary does and Delane does in getting the information ready for me to audit. And I will say that I look at a lot of these CAFRs, and we do over 50 school boards throughout the state, and this is the best one really that I have ever seen. She does a great job. It's almost like a professional does this book. I assume that based on since you've gotten them since 1993 and 1997, that this one you also get the certification for this booklet. And that concludes my remarks. If you have any questions, I'll be glad to try to answer.
Any questions?
Mr. Quinn, if you could, because your firm does 50, I know our school nutrition performance, that's a bit of an anomaly in today's world.
Especially for your larger units, exactly. I mean, being able to pay the indirect cost and also show a positive change for the year is something to be proud of.
And so that reflects, the board will recall that we did bring in an independent organization to look at our operations and consider outsourcing some of that. And they came, and after they reviewed it, said that they didn't see any opportunity to improve. And I think this financial performance would support that. Also, when you spoke about our unassigned fund balance, with the other things that have gone on economically related to our budget, particularly our state allocations, how would you rate the performance of our maintaining our fund balance like we were able to?
It just went down slightly, and I would think over the way the budget has been a little bit up in the air and constricted, that being able to maintain that at a certain level has been good.
And I think that gets back to this board and your leadership and the budget you had taken. We had historically budgeted a certain amount of fund balance, but in approving the budget, you removed that. So we're now doing a zero allocation of that fund balance. So that again reflects how we have this strong financial report. So we appreciate the work that Mr. Quinn does. It's always, you can always tell when he's in the district, because accounting gets real quiet and they're not seeking outside because they're looking at everything.
I do monopolize their time on here. There's no doubt about that.
Mr. Collier.
Mr. Quinn, you also do other government entities and municipalities within your firm, right?
One of our other offices does some of that. I do not do that. I only do school board.
Well, you may not be able to answer this, but, I think you have in the past, but school boards in general, their fund balances are a very small percentage in comparison to counties' fund balances and municipalities.
That is correct. For local municipalities and counties, they want to require, the LGC requires 8 to 12% fund balance. Yours, if you look at it for your total expenditures, your unassigned fund balance is about 1.6 to 1.7. So you operate on a smaller scale. They do like the taxing authorities to have a higher fund balance. They figure your revenue stream is guaranteed, although we know that's not the case.
Thank you. I just wanted to point out some of the differences between Board of Education's fund balance and other government agencies. And as you mentioned, LGC drives that, where it's a different world to hold such a small fund balance in a budget as large as what we have in the school system.
Anyone else? This is an action item, so Mr. Devon, second Mr. Ramsey. Any more questions, discussion? All in favor? And it's unanimous. Thank you, Mr. Quinn.
Thank you,
Mr. Hoskins. Our next item on the agenda is parent resources. This is an information item, and Dr. Balknight, Mr. Jackson.
As Dr. Jackson makes his way to the podium, we should all recognize Dr. Jackson received his doctoral degree over the weekend from East Carolina University.
Chairman Moore, members of the board, Superintendent Booker, thank you for allowing us to update you on what we've been working on around parent resources on our website. Two of the things I like most about it is as parents move from kindergarten to 12th grade, how they access our resource you'll see is very similar. And the next thing, whenever you see on the front page, you'll see an icon for elementary, one for middle, and one for high school. With one click, they have access to everything. So Ms. Hullett, Ms. Parker, and Ms. Yavalak will walk you through what you'll see, and hopefully it will be live on Wednesday.
So we know the significant relationship between parent involvement and student achievement is very well documented. Research shows that when parents are involved with their children's education, students earn better grades, scores are higher on standardized tests, we have better attendance records, and students show a more interest in their academic journey. So we want to make sure that we are supporting this partnership, and we want to do that by providing easy access to very important information and useful links, and we want to do that on the Gaston County website. Recently, North Carolina Department of Public Instruction went through a K-12 English Language Arts and Mathematics Standard Course of Study revision process. With that came updated standards, lots of new information, and lots of great resources. The Academic Services Department decided that with all these new changes, we needed to get this updated on our website so parents could have easy access to it. So tonight, we want to share with you these updates that you will see coming soon to the Gaston County website.
One of the things that we really wanted to focus on was alignment, like Dr. Jackson said, so that as students move through K-12 and their parents are looking for information, they see similar resources, the elementary level, the middle school level, and the high school level. And so we decided that we were going to do this through a lot of collaboration. So over the course of a few months, all of the curriculum facilitators and academic facilitators and the executive directors of instruction all got together, and we met both in content-specific groups to see what was there, and leveled groups to see what was available and what was aligned already from K-12. What we realized was there's really three different kinds of resources. As Shannon said, DPI went through curriculum revision and standards revision for math and ELA. That didn't happen for all of the courses, and so we don't have parent resources from DPI for every single course. So the curriculum department, the AFs and the CFs got together and kind of started filling in the gaps. So we created some curriculum resources just specifically for parents. So what is available, what are students going to be studying over the course of that, how you can help them at home was one of the things that we really looked at. So how do you build in your elementary science student, how do you build a capacity for learning that? How do you help early readers? How do you help students who are struggling with math in the 6th grade? So we looked really specifically at those things. We also realized that we have a lot of students in the high school specifically who are looking for information. Their parents want information on things outside standard curriculum, ACT, SAT, AP courses, just college access, course sequencing. So where do I go next? What student should, or what class should my student take next? So we put those resources on there as well. You'll also find on the website program-specific resources for things that are used throughout their school trip. So things like elementary reading resources, iReady resources, iExcel, and the high school math app are all available on the website. This is what it looks like.
So as I leave that parent home site where I choose a level, this may be an example of what I see. Depending on which level I've gone into, this one happens to be middle, the template looks the same, but the resources differ. I think Dr. Jackson in your yellow folder has given you just a hard copy of what this might look like. So what's great about this is if I am a parent of a 5th grader who's getting ready to move into middle school and I've been utilizing this site in elementary, I'm familiar with it. So I know if my child struggles in ELA, I might come into the middle school site to get prepared, and I might choose the parent guide that DPI has put out. and you can just kind of preview through this guide with me. It gives what we would call the educational jargon a little bit, lets parents know that we talk about reading a lot, but technically we have a number of strands, so it reminds parents. We also want to teach our kids to write well, to speak and listen, and have good language skills. Then it puts into perspective for our parents standards in a easy format to understand. What is my child going to learn this coming school year? And then I say it gets down to kind of the nitty gritty. What can I do at home in order to support my child and help them do better in this content? DPI has even gone so far as to offer some specific questions for readers. And in the very end of this, they've given some additional links where our parents can go to find some other resources. So that's one example of the resources that we can find on the page that's content specific.
Thank you.
Mrs. Guthrie. One of you. Miss Cherry.
So how are we going to get the tutorial to the parents? How are we going to drive them to our website to get this information? Because that's a big hurdle right there.
And that's something that we'll work with our schools. So that's something when it goes live on Wednesday, we'll be pushing it out to our schools to be able to communicate with parents about the resources that are out there.
Ms. Guthrie.
Because you do have parent newsletters that go out, so that would be one source, and each school should have its own web page, so that's another reference for parents. And I would take a step farther to say, as soon as this is live, let me know so that we can get these into some of the clergy's hands so that they can put this type of great information into church bulletin, because that's where we're going to need a lot of the parents. And I can tell you right now, I am going to insert this into every bulletin at Tabernacle, because I think this is, no, really, this is key. We always talk about what parents like from districts. You have it now. So we are accountable. We need to get it out. And that's what we will do. Thank you. Phenomenal. I think this is just wonderful because parents can now find ways and means to help their children. Thank you.
Anyone else? Thank you, Dr. Jackson. And congratulations again on your acquired degree. Our next item on the agenda is summer opportunities, and this is a information item. And Ms. Minnick.
Chairman Moore, Superintendent Booker, and members of the board, Academic Services has always done a really great job of providing summer opportunities for our students that needed to close those gaps and needed extra support to be ready for their next grade level in school. The last couple of years, we have started adding in some enrichment activities as well to try to stretch and grow those students that need those opportunities. And so we have been doing some careful planning together to make sure that we are able to offer all of our students that need some type of summer opportunity that chance with us to provide that for them. So I'm the lucky person that gets to tell you about all of those opportunities tonight, but the whole team is here to help answer questions at the end should one arise that I'm not sure of the answer of. So the first one we wanted to share with you is our Aspire Summer Program. The dates for Aspire this year will be July 6th through 30th, and just like last year, it will run Monday through Thursday. It will be 8 o'clock to 3 o'clock, and the host site will be HH Beam. And Many of you are familiar with Aspire through the after-school program that serves the same children that would attend this at Pleasant Ridge, H.H. Beam, and Lingerfelt. Those are the same students that would participate, 150 total in the summer program this summer. Next, of course, will be our summer reading camp, where we will serve our students. Third graders will be those that are not quite at grade level yet, that haven't quite met proficiency and need that extra support. And then first and second will be those students as well, but we are waiting on some guidance from the state on exactly what criteria they want us to look at this year. We are hoping to use the sites listed on the slide, and that will run June 22nd through July 14th, and will be no program on July 4th. The next is a newer opportunity for us and our middle school math students. This will be July 28th through the 30th. Teachers will attend 8:30 to 3 and students 9 to 1. And what's exciting about this is the week prior, teachers will attend 3 days of professional development where they will learn lots of great strategies for how to teach math to middle school students. And then during these 3 days, students will be there and teachers will be put into coaching and presenting teams where they will teach to the students and then get feedback from their peers and from the coaches on how they did. So students will reap some great benefits from that extra support in the summertime, and teachers will have the opportunity to really learn and grow as well. The same will happen for our English Language Arts middle school teachers, and those dates will be June 27th through the 31st. What's nice about this is they'll be working with Cornelius Minor to learn those strategies, again, prior to the students being with them, and he is a face and a person that they are familiar with and that we've had a lot of success with in the past. Gaining my independence, you all have heard about our camp where we serve our visually impaired students. We partner with Lincoln, Charlotte, Mecca, and Cleveland counties to reach these students in kindergarten through 12th grade. Last year we had 11 students and 2 high school juniors that were volunteers for us. All were visually impaired, and we had that at North Gaston. It runs 2 weeks, and because we're trying to coordinate dates with all those counties right now, we know for certain it will be in July, but we haven't nailed down the exact dates for that. Summer Imaginarium, we are really excited to offer this again this year. Last year, our elementary camp, it was their first year, and they served 45 students. It will run this year from June 15th to the 19th, from 8:30 to 1, and it does have a cost of $75. However, we are always willing to work with families that might not have the financial means to provide that. And then our 6th through 8th grade camp, this will be the 3rd summer that we are doing that, and we saw a growth of 78% last year. We were really excited, so we're hoping to see that same growth with our elementary camp. And last year, this served 75 students, and it is their opportunity to come and develop knowledge and skills in those areas that they love and that are passions for them and for the teachers that are teaching them. We will also be having our college prep summer camp again this year. Of course, that's for rising 10th through 12th graders. It will be at Gaston Early College and have those 3 areas of concentration: SAT and ACT, math preparation, reading preparation, and college application and scholarship essay preparation. We also saw a growth of 57% in this group last year, so we were really excited. We think maybe the change in location helped. Some other things that we did that helped was they could come for a part of the day. If all they really wanted to do was work on that college application and scholarship essay, they could come just for that class. So they had the opportunity to kind of pre-enroll for the courses and classes that they wanted to take to be helpful for them. And we felt like that made it a little more appealing for those that might need to go to work or might not feel like they needed extra help in preparing for the test but would like to work on the college essays or vice versa. One of our new offerings this year that we're really excited about is the CTE Summer Camp. It will run June 22nd through 25th for rising 6th through 8th graders. North Gaston, Hunter Huss, and Cherryville High Schools will be the host sites for those, and those are the 3 areas of concentration: culinary arts at Hunter Huss, automotive at North Gaston, and public safety at Cherryville High School. So we are really excited to see this program develop and to put that out for students. We are hoping to have 20 students at each of the sites, and so touch a total of 60 students in the county this year. Of course, we will have Commissioner School again this year. This serves 60 students in our county. They are all selected by school-level committees at each high school that considers their academic performance, their extracurricular activities, and their leadership potential as they are choosing their students to participate. Is for rising 10th graders, and they get to go and do all kinds of wonderful activities to learn about their community, to meet their community leaders, and to give back a little bit through some of the projects that they do. And I think one of the greatest things about this program is so many of these students learn great reasons why they want to return here after college, and it really helps them connect to those businesses and leaders that we would like for them to know and be a part of. We, of course, will participate in Governor's School this year. Gaston County Schools was allowed to send in 23 applications in the academics area and 30 in the arts this year. We are currently waiting on the state to let us know how many of those will be accepted, and actually attending one of their sites from June 21st to July 29th. And we always have a really great group of students represent us at Governor's School, and they have such amazing stories to tell when they return that it's really fun to talk to them and know that we were a part of this. And finally, Innovation Station. Innovation Station started at Kaiser Elementary last year. They had tremendous success with it, and they hosted 2 sessions each day. They do a morning session from 8:30 to 11:30, and then send those 30 students home, and then they do another session for 30 more students from 12:30 to 3:30 in the afternoon, where they focus on science and engineering skills and activities. And they had such fun with it and such great response to it that they are expanding that this year to New Hope, Lowell, and Bessemer City Central. So these are the programs that we are really excited about for this summer, and now we can certainly entertain any questions you might have. Yes.
Ms. Cherry.
How are we going to advertise, and when are you going to start?
I am so glad you asked that. So we're excited to be here in December so that when we come back in January, we will, and I talked to Sean Corcoran today, he is going to help us develop a web page that is devoted strictly to summer opportunities for our students so that our parents will have one page where they can go to and see all of the options available to them. Any that require applications or information that need to be there, there will be links to that, and it will help us to better manage the enrollment rates, and if we need to go out there and ring the bells and, you know, do more advertising, or if we're reaching a wide area of the county for that too. So that will be one of our first steps, is developing the web page. And then we certainly, I have already shared the PowerPoint with Amy Parker, and she's going to share all of that information out with the counselors at their meeting in January. We wanted you all to be the first to get the details on it, and ask all of them to make sure that it's on school web pages and that they're sharing it out with parents as well.
Ms. Guthrie.
Will you have a summer reading list as well on the page?
We absolutely will have a summer reading list. Yes, ma'am. I know Shannon and Amy will work on that. Yes.
You started early this year, and I think that's just fantastic to be able to share what you have already planned, and then that will give parents and students a better opportunity to make their plans for the summer.
I tell the academic services team all the time that I love my team, and I think we do really great work together. And I was excited that we were able to have these conversations early too, and do some really good planning so we can be ahead of some of the other programs and options that might be out there too.
Thank you.
Mr. Chair, this is totally unrelated, but while we're talking about fairs, I want to commend Ms. McLean on the job that she and all of you did in putting together the fair at Lori Mill. I think it was a phenomenal opportunity for our parents to attend, to visit the choice schools, and to see what's available, what's offered via Gaston County Schools. The flags, everything was just so professionally done, well done, and we want to commend you again. Not only did you stand behind the podium to share what you're doing with the children in the classroom, when you go out, you represent excellence in the exhibits and displays that you do. So a job well done.
And very well attended, very well attended.
Thank you, Mr.
And I would add to Ms. Minnick's report about planning for the summer for our students. Academic Services has also produced the professional development calendar for our faculty so that they can already begin planning for those summer enrichment opportunities for them. So everything is trying to move ahead so that we can give people as much lead time and get great participation. So they're working hard.
Thank you. The next item on our agenda is the consent agenda. There are several items on our consent agenda tonight. Please take a look at those items listed.
Mr. Chairman, make a motion that we approve the consent agenda.
Mr. Devon, second, Mr. Cherry. Any questions, discussion? All in favor? And it's unanimous. That brings us to a time in our meeting to hear from our superintendent. Dr. Booker, do you have any comment?
Thank you. Yes, sir. I have several. First, it would be with great oversight if we did not stop and thank all of our schools for the many outstanding holiday-themed programs and activities that I personally have gotten to witness, but many of you have seen. And so our community is alive, and it's thanks to our schools with all that they have done. It's really special. Also, we need to take a great shout out to our transportation department. Good old classic number one, which is always a challenge for them to get ready for parades, was able to participate in 8 of the community parades and be ridden on by our students and teachers, so it's really great to have that. We still feel great pride when we see our marching bands and our cheerleaders and junior ROTC and all the other school groups that participate in these parades and recognize how vital our school system is in the community. And so just wanted to thank all of our school administration teachers for what they do to make this season even more special. On a much more heavier note, you probably have seen coverage last week about the Leandro education case. This is a long-standing legal matter in our state, and it impacts Gaston County because there is such a thing as called a low wealth fund that's part of the Leandro lawsuit, so we watch all of this closely. The report has been produced. It'll be interesting to see what the State Board of Education does as they review it, along with the General Assembly, because it has some very specific findings in it. So we will continue to follow that and keep you abreast of that. If you've had an opportunity to look at that report, it is quite comprehensive in its review. Also, as Early College highlighted, we have been given our academic growth and graduation certificates from the North Carolina Department of Public Instruction. And they used to have a big ceremony in Raleigh where they would invite and give those certificates out. They now just distribute them. So we felt it was an opportunity to bring our schools together and give them their certificates. And Mr. Hagens and Mr. Nancetti worked to develop a program. And so we will air on Channel 21 all of our schools that received those certificates and the recognition for that. So I wanted to thank the principals for giving us an afternoon to come over and help make that program. But the big thing is the community will be able to watch and see the great awards and recognition that our schools have received. Also, a unique new program. We tried this and it turned out really well. The band fair, our marching band fair, we had folks on hand to record that and film it, and we are now on January 6th going to be able to start broadcasting a production that shows the band fair and all the great work that our marching bands do to put that. So I wanted to thank Tom Nancetti and Todd for all their work on that. It'll be an opportunity for people to see that and give them those things just like we do on other sporting events, and this is a great event. So we look forward to seeing that in the first 3 weeks of January. Yes, Mr.
A shout out to Redford. Did a great job with that, organizing that thing. I mean,
Yes.
I didn't stay the whole time, but I was there and it just went like clockwork. I mean, it was just phenomenal to see all of our bands and he had coordinated everything, but he did a great job.
So there are many other things that are going on in the district. I will remind the board that your annual retreat is on Friday, January 17th at the Raider Center. and it will be a one-day, long day for you, but we appreciate you giving the time because we have a number of things that we need to discuss, similar to like Leandro, and just update you on what is going on. Also, Pinewood Elementary in Mount Holly will be celebrating its 50th anniversary. So on January 26th, Sunday, January 26th, from 3 to 5 p.m., they'll be holding an open house in recognition of that. So if you could look forward to placing that on your calendars. And as Ms. Guthrie pointed out, we've had one school choice information. Pinewood Elementary on January 26th will be celebrating their 50th anniversary. And Ms. Guthrie pointed out we've had our first school choice fair, and we will have two more of those, January 27th at the Myers Center at Gaston College, and then another one will follow later in February. And so we want to give this opportunity for them to see the 20 different dynamic choice programs that we have are on display for families to come out and review those. So also January 6th will be our first day back from fall break. This Thursday will be our last day of classes. When we come back on January 6th, the choice window will open. And as you already have on this link, you can apply by through the 28th of February. So we will begin winter break with the last bus parking on Thursday afternoon. And I think everyone is ready for that break. And we want to thank all that have worked so hard and remind that we have designated holidays and work days that will basically keep us closed from Friday is a work day. And we will come back the last Friday after January 1st. On January 3rd will be another work day, and then students will return on the 6th. But those days in between, our school buildings will be closed, but our central office facilities will be open for the public. And with that, sir, I would ask respectfully that we have a closed session to cover a number of items.
All right, I need a motion to go into closed session.
Mr. Chair, if I may, I'd like to make a motion under North Carolina General Statute to go into closed session under North Carolina General Statutes 143-318.11, paragraph A6 for personnel, paragraph A8 for school safety plan, and paragraph A3 for consultation with attorney, specifically regarding the attorney-client privilege, and to receive advice with respect to the lawsuit captioned 19-CVS-319 Solomon et al. Versus Gaston County Board of Education et al. And any other legal matters.
Got a motion? Second, Mr. Davis. Any questions? All in favor? And it's unanimous. We are in closed session. thank you, everyone, for your time and attention tonight. We look forward to our next regular board meeting, which will be January 17th. We'd like to wish everybody, on behalf of our board, a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. And also, I have a letter here from Mr. Donnie Loftus. He is the chairman of the Caromount Health Board of Directors. They're wanting to get together with our board, so I will be in contact with him the next couple of days and see if we can't get that set up. So I just wanted you guys to be aware of that. And with that,
Make a motion to adjourn.
Mr. Hall, second. Mr. Davis, all in favor?
Happy birthday.
And it's unanimous.